Hello students, myself Maitri Dave, and today we are going to discuss about different types of doors. So let us start today's lecture. So there is a list of types of door available on this slide where you can see overall 13 types of doors are there. First is the ledge door, then the ledge and braced, ledged and frame, ledge frame and braced, framed and panelled, glazed or chaise, flush doors, lower doors, collapsible steel doors, revolving doors, rolling steel doors, sliding and the swing door. So let us start with the first one, which is the ledge doors, right? So here you can see in this picture, this is the type of ledge door, where it is formed of vertical boards known as the baton, which are secured by horizontal support known as the ledge, as shown in this figure. The batons are of 100 mm to 150 mm wide and 20 mm to 30 mm thick. The ledges are generally 100 mm to 200 mm wide and 30 mm thick. So, the three ledges are generally employed, the top, middle and the bottom. The batons are secured by the means of suitable joints and the shutters are hung on a T-hinge which are fixed on the ledges. This is the simplest form of the door and is used where the strength and appearance is not important, right? Now, let us see the second combination, which is all about ledge and the braced. It means what? They are similar to the ledged one except the diagonal members, means which are known as the braced. They are provided as shown in this figure. The braces are generally of 100 mm to 150 mm wide and 30 mm thick. The braces give rigidity to the door and hence the door of this type are useful for wide openings. The braces are usually housed in the ledges. It should be noted that the braces must slope upward from the hanging side as they have to work in the compression, not in the tension. It means we have to work in the compression, not in the tension. Now, let us move to the next one, ledge and the frame. It means in this type of door, a framework for shutters is provided to make the doors stronger and better in appearance as shown in figure. The styles are generally of 100 mm width and 40 mm thick. The batons are and ledges are provided generally as usual as shown in this picture. Here you can see two images where one is the cross section and it is the real image. Now move to the next one, which is ledge, frame and the braced. So here you can say this is just similar to the above type except that the braces are introduced as shown in this figure. This type of door is more durable and stronger and hence it can be adopted for external uses also. So the braces should incline upward from the hanging side. Here you can see the actual image as well as the cross section of this type of door. Next is the frame and the panel door. It means this is the most usual variety of door and it consists of a framework in which panels are fitted. The thickness of panels is about 20 mm and the panels are secured in position by grooves made inside the edges of the framework. And the number and the size of panel depend upon the architect's design or the owner's design, right? So we can say we have to manage the numbers according to our requirement. But the number varies from 1 to 6 and panels are molded to add the beauty of the door as shown in this cross section as well as this image. Now let's move to the glazed or the chaise door. Here you can see a clear cross section of this, where in order to admit more light, in addition to that coming from the window, the fully glazed or partly panelled and partly glazed doors are used. Here the ratio should be maintained and here usually the ratio of the glazed portion to the panelled portion is 2:1 and the glass is received into the rebates provided in the wooden chaise bar and secured by nails and putty or by some wooden beads fixed to the frame, right? In order to increase the area of the glazed portion, the width of stiles above the lock rail is decreased as shown in figure. These are known as the diminished stile or some gun stock styles, right? This type of doors are usually for hospitals, offices and some libraries or some showrooms, banks and the shopping units, right? Next is the flush door. Now a flush door consists of a framework of rails and stiles and it is covered with a plywood or a handboard. So generally they can be of two types, a frame flush or a laminated flush door. So let us learn both of these. So the first one is a frame flush. So here you can see clearly in this image that it generally consists of the stile, rail, horizontal ribs, vertical ribs and the plywood as shown in figure. The holes in horizontal ribs are provided for the ventilation and the vertical ribs rest on that particular rails. The hollow space, instead of being kept empty, sometimes filled up with the granulated cork or any other light material, right? So they are light in weight and cheap, but as they are weak, they have practically become obsolete. Now, when I talk about the laminated one, a laminated flush door, so generally it consists of the stile, rail, laminated core and the plywood. The laminate, or we can say the laminae of wood, are glued together under a great pressure. So the wooden sheets on either sides are also glued to the laminated core under great pressure. Thus, it is heavy and requires more material for construction. These are economical, easy to clean, better in appearance, reasonably strong, little affected by moisture and termite proof and the crack proof, right? Now let's move to the next one, the lowered one. So in this type of door, the shutters are provided with the lowered either fully or the partly. Thus the upper back edge of any lowered will be higher than the lower front edge of the lowered just above it. The lowers may be movable or fixed as shown in figure. You can see the cross section, the movable one and the fixed one, and the actual image of this type of door. Now, in addition to that, I want to say that in case of movable lowers, the vertical piece of timber is provided to which the lowers are attached through the hinges. The upward and the downward movement of the lowers can be carried out with the help of vertical piece of timber. The lowers may be either of wood or glass, and this is kept sloping away from the inner portion to prevent the entry of moisture from the outside. The lowered doors allow free passage of air when closed and at the same time maintain sufficient privacy. They are used for sanitary blocks of public buildings, residential buildings, etc. The lowers collect dust easily, therefore the lower doors should be periodically cleaned, right? Next is the collapsible steel door. So it consists of a mild steel frame as shown in this figure. The two vertical pieces of mild steel channel about 15 mm to 20 mm wide are joined together with the hollow portion of the channel inside. The vertical gap of the 12 mm to 15 mm thus created. Such pieces are spaced at about 120 mm center to center and are joined to one another by cross iron pieces. The cross iron pieces are usually 10 mm to 15 mm wide and 15 mm thick. The rollers, molded and horizontal piece are provided at the top and the bottom end of the vertical pieces. The door can be opened or closed manually by a slight pull or push. So the door is also provided with the handles, locking arrangement and the stoppers. Now, a collapsible steel door thus works without hinges and it is used for compound gates, residential buildings, schools, sheds, godowns, workshop, public building, etc. It is providing increased safety and protection to the property. The collapsible steel doors are also recommended in the situation where the light and ventilation are desired even when the opening is closed, right? Next is the revolving door. So generally it consists of a centrally placed mullion or pivot in a circular opening. The revolving shutter or leaves, which are 4 in numbers, are radially attached to the pivot as shown in this figure. The shutter may be fully glazed, fully panelled or partly panelled and partly glazed. The central pivot is provided with the ball bearing at the bottom and the bust bearing at the top so that its rotation is smooth and without any jerk, friction or any noise. So the revolving door simultaneously provides entrance on one side and exit to the other side, as shown in this figure. At the same time, it keeps the opening automatically in closed position when it is not in use. It also grants protection against the wind, or we can say it is found to be much help at places subjected to the strong winds during the most of the span of the year. So a revolving door is much useful for buildings where there is a heavy rush of foot traffic and also air conditioning buildings, right? Hence they are provided in big hotels, banks, offices or hospitals. Now next is the rolling steel doors. Here it consists of a frame, a drum and a shutter of thin steel plates or iron sheets of thickness about 1 mm. The grooves of about 25 mm thickness are left in the frame, and a horizontal shaft and the springs are provided in the drum at the top. The diameter of the drum is about 200 mm to 300 mm. So the shutter usually rolls in the turns, and thus a slight pull or push will close or open the shutter. The rolling steel doors are sufficiently strong, and as they can be easily rolled up at the top, they cause no obstruction to the floor as well as the opening. And the rolling steel doors are usually provided for garages, showrooms, shops, godowns, factory buildings, right? They provide security against the fire and the burglars. They are, however, not good in appearance, but they cause noise in movement, right? Here you can see a clear image of a rolling steel doors. Now generally the rolling shutters are of two types, the pull-push type and the mechanical gear type. When I talk about the pull-push type shutter, these shutters are suitable for the areas less than 10 meters square. While the area is greater than 10 meters square, we have to go for the mechanical gear type. Generally, pull-push type shutters are opened by simply applying pull or push, and where the total weight of this type of rolling shutter is about 240 Newton per meter square. While for mechanical gear type shutter, they are operated by the worm gears and connecting rod and winding handle or by means of chain pulley blocks. The thickness of shutter is kept about 1.25 mm, and the pulleys are interconnected with the steel bar so that motion given by the mechanical drive is shared by all the pulleys. And the total weight of the mechanical gear type rolling shutter is about 280 Newton per meter square, right? Next is the sliding door. Here you can see a cross section as well as a clear image of a sliding door, where in this type of doors the shutter slides on the slides with the help of runners or guide as shown in this figure. The shutter may be of one or several leaves and can slide either on one side or both the sides. The cavities may be provided in the wall to receive the door is an open position, or it may simply lie touching the wall. So the later arrangement being very common, right? A sliding door does not cause any obstruction during the movement, and generally it is used for the entrance of godowns, sheds, shops, showrooms and etc. It is provided with the handle, locking arrangement, stopper, etc. And the next is the swing door. So generally it is provided with special hinges known as the double action spring hinges, and thus the shutter of the door are held in closed position when the door is not in use, right? When the door is to be used, a slight push is made and then the action of spring brings the shutter in closed position. This type of door is widely used for passage of public buildings such as the government, offices and banks. Here you can see a clear image of a swing doors, right? Yes. So that's all for today's lecture. I hope you all understand different types of door in detail. Thank you for watching. We will meet in the next lecture.